stream on? Yeah, okay. Good. Good. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I might be a little bit shaky. Alrighty. So welcome to the channel. I don't have many videos, but that is, oh my gosh, it is so cold in here. Alright. Okay, and my character broke a block. Nice. Alright, so this is my lobby. That's not important. But, yeah. Welcome to Plexus. This is my world. This is my server I've been building. It's currently a realm, but I am not releasing it to the public yet because it is not done yet. Today I decided to make a recording on how to build, or theoretically, how to build a murder mystery in Minecraft. Now, this murder mystery only works in very short games. I mean, they tend to be short, and so that would be fun. So, here we go. I'm going to explain how to theoretically build murder mystery inside here using a bunch of command blocks, because, yes, I tried doing redstone, mainly redstone primary work, but it did not want to work, so I went ahead and made oh yeah, that was just the teleport. Went ahead and made a murder mystery with command blocks. So here we see coming soon. By the way, this is just, I'm just gonna turn myself in creative real quick. Alright, so that's just a simple teleport command, and you see that I got the title Sheriff. Usually this doesn't happen because I have not found a better way to make a random number generator machine. And so if anyone knows how to make a good RNG machine, just let me know, because I really need that. Yeah, I just got off work, sorry about that. So anyway, how this works is that the pressure plate is going to be like right above the purple command block. So when I activate that, it's going to go ahead and test for anyone that's standing on that block within a radius of 1, because you see the radius of 1 right here. That is a radius of 1 from X89, Y23, Z192. Now that's all just really simple stuff. It's going to test for the any person within a radius of 1, so you want to make sure and go ahead and make sure that only one person is stepping through at a time, and that when one person steps on the pressure plate, because that sends one redstone signal until they get off of it. So if you have 2 people on the pressure plate, it's not going to work. And how you can do this is it's actually, I don't know why I didn't do 2 rooms. I guess it was just for the more directness of being able to get into the game and go ahead and start. But yeah, that's the only problem with this. Otherwise, if you can get one person to go in at a time and your players are responsive and respectable about that, then everything should be good. Well, I'm just going to invite my friend real quick because they wanted an invite. Alrighty, so, and this was a failed machine. Well, actually, wait, no, it's not. Okay, it is not a failed machine. That is redstone and other work. So this detects people in rooms. So this is what I was talking about, right? So it detects anyone that is in, and there's like a room right here. You can't see it, but there's a room right there. And once you get your roll, you're supposed to go ahead and go into that room. And then in that room, if it detects anyone that's in that room that has a role, or just I think anyone in general, I believe. Yeah, anyone in general. So they don't need to have any certain tag or anything. Then they can go ahead and just teleport to the game lobby room, which I will show you after I'm done explaining all of this. Okay, so yep, and how you build this is, and I really want to go in depth here because it's a pretty good way of describing this. And so anyway, it's not working right now because this is not, you know, this had a comparator from it, and yeah, I just kind of destroyed it. So my bad. Gonna go ahead and put a comparator from it. So when you put a comparator from it, if you guys don't know, it emits a redstone charge, and this is for people that that just don't really know. It's gonna get more advanced, so don't worry about it. If you're already advanced, then sorry for running on, but just want to make sure everyone understands this. Okay, so when it detects people in the room, and it's testing for, so it's testing for repeating, condition unconditional, and just to let you know, if you guys don't know, conditional means if you put it on conditional, it's mainly for chain command blocks, which I'll get to in a second, but conditional means if the last command block was successful in operating, then it leaves a redstone charge to this one. So since this is unconditional, it doesn't need another command block to activate it. And you'll get what I mean in a second. Redstone always active, so it's always active and repeating. And it's always testing for anyone that is in the vicinity of X92, Y23, Z186 within a radius of 4 from that block. And then it's saying no targets match selector, so that means no one's in there right now. So if I, you kind of see how it's like, yeah, so I am within a radius of 4. What that means is that I'm in a radius of 4 of that area. Right? So, since I'm in a radius of 4, I mean, again, this is for people that don't know, that's going to activate, and it's going to send a redstone charge to this. And this used to be something else. This I don't actually need anymore, because this was a whole different thing going on. And that's just the teleport to the lobby, and that's player controlled, so they can press a button and they get teleported to there. Okay, so next in this sends a redstone charge, and there's a door right above here, and when it sends a redstone charge, then the door opens, or the door closes, my bad, because the way I set the door. And you can run a test by yourself, a simple test, and I'm going to be running tests a lot to show you guys how it's working, so that way, it's out of the clutter. So let's say this represents me, a redstone charge, that I'm in the room. And of course, unfortunately, you can probably find better tutorials on how to send one person through at a time, but this is my homemade version in PS4 anyway. And so let's say it's detecting me, right? And so it's going to let off a redstone charge, and I'm going to put a door. I'm going to show you first without connecting the redstone. Nice. I'm going to show you first without connecting the redstone to it, so you know what I'm talking about. So this is the closed position, but as you can see, it's open. Now, if I put it right here, it's not going to work, right? Because then, if it detects, how am I supposed to get into the room if it's not open, right? So if it detects me in the room, that wouldn't make sense. Now, what I need to do is I need to place it a different way. So this is now closed, in Minecraft terms, because I placed it facing this way, and the reason why that's open because the redstone travels through this block is closed, right? Because I placed it this way, right? Now, but to this way, if I have blocks coming like this, then it looks open. And so this doesn't even require redstone. This here, you can just place it, you know, however you like. Now, what I've done is essentially ran redstone to this door by running it like right underneath it. So it's probably not going to work. Yep. It's not going to work because I had wired the redstone differently. But you need to somehow, if you want to do this for yourself, you need to somehow wire the redstone that when it is activated to the door. And it can be, you know, as simple as this and then having a block right here or some pillar or something. But you need to get that to the door or else it will not work. And so what you can do, right, is, yeah, because this is in close position, good. All right, yeah. Yeah, so you see how I placed it? Like that. Pretty sure you understand by now. But if I run to it, right, I go in the room. This represents me going into the room, right, and activating it. Now, let me try this just one more time. Okay, no, it's not going to work. What you can do is you can do a redstone on-off. So you can do something like this, right? And this is a basic NOT gate. So if you flip a lever, then this turns off, right? And you can just form a block on top of that. And this turns on, right? And then this one should turn off. You see how it's kind of like a ladder? Now, essentially, you can just, you know, use this, put it right here, and then you'd have like a redstone thing like right here, right? You see how that kind of opened the door? Or closed it in our case. So you can essentially just run it towards like this, right? Or let's do that. And then let's say we're not in the room anymore. Then, well, oh crap, that doesn't make me look good, doesn't it? Right, just one second. Yeah, okay, now it works. Alright, but yeah, you got my point. You see, it's open, and then I'm stepping in the room, and it's closed. And all it is just this leading to this, which turns the charge negative. And this turns it positive again. And this turns it negative. And then you got the working mechanic. And all you need to do is just somehow get a positive charge. So the positive charge, it can be, you know, on or off. The positive correlated charge, that's what I'm going to call it from now on, to this door. Because if you don't, then it's not going to work. Or it's just going to be closed until you somehow get in the room, then it's going to turn open. That's not what you want. You want it to be open, and then when you get in the room, it's going to be closed. And so that's just basic redstone. For now, we're going to get into more complicated stuff. Sorry if I over-elaborated there. But this is going to be a very long video. And there is probably going to be some mistakes in my work, such as that mess. That's my random number generator. And is not working at its best right now, because I have to keep doing this. Actually, that'd probably be better if I just... Okay, so the reason why I did that is that charge can go through blocks. It's the same thing as doing this. Alright, so before I get into that mess, I've explained how to let one person inside the room at all times. And it's this command. You can go ahead and copy that down in a book. I recommend having a piece of paper and maybe a pencil next to you so you can write down what is going to be, well, what you want to copy and what you don't want to copy if you see some flukes in it. Currently, I don't have enough friends to test this with. Or not enough friends that are active at the moment. So you guys can go ahead and repeat this with your friends. Right now, this whole murder mystery feature has 3 players, and it can be turned on to be 4. And I'm not finished with it yet, but I'm very close to be, and that's why I'm uploading this video. I'm uploading it not just for the tutorial, but also asking for help. But hopefully you can get what you need from this and possibly help me out too on if I've done something wrong, if there's a silly mistake, or maybe if you have a simpler way of doing things, you know. Alright, and you know, I hope I help everyone that watches this. So, thanks for tuning in. Just 1 second. Alrighty, so yeah, that's the command. Flashed it for a little bit too long. That's fine. Alright, so again, pressure plate's right up here. This testing for anyone that's on the pressure plate, theoretically, within 1 block, which is, you know, it's not 3 by 3. So it's not, you know, here to here. It's not that. It's just detecting the radius of 1 block is this. Because if you think about it, if it was a radius of 0, then it would just, I'm pretty sure it would just be like non-existent, you know, because radius is 0. And you can't, from what I know, is that you can't put decimals. And if you can, then I didn't know that. But on Bedrock, from what I know, is that I'm pretty sure you can. Alright, so this, I'm going to head into this because this looks a little bit less complicated. So when they step on the pressure plate, this leads into this. So this puts their game mode, whoever's standing on the pressure plate, within a radius of 2, because that's larger now, so now it's going to be 3 by 3. To adventure, the nearest person that is from this block. Now I actually need to change that because it needs to be from the pressure plate, but you understand. Alright, and so the play sound, this is just a little feature I decided to add in just for fun. Makes it a little bit more spooky, and inside the house at night, anyway, it makes it a little bit more atmospheric. And 13, the disc 13 is just playing, and so this is the play sound for disc 13. So what it's doing is it's playing the sound record 13 to the nearest player within a radius of 20. So it's I should actually put all players within a radius of 20, but yeah, I'm gonna try that. Alright, so we're gonna put all players within a radius of 20 from this block, and it's gonna play it from this block at 100 volume, I believe. I think that's what it means. So I think 100 volume, or I just put that in. You can look at the command by pressing right on the D-pad and just going /play sound. Let's actually check. Yeah, position XYZ. You know, and if you guys don't know, you guys can you can use this to cancel, or you can use this to input your current position. And position, if I did this for position, that means wherever I am, or whoever's executing the command is. That's what it means. So if you see that, that's usually what it means. Alright, and so the volume is 100. You know, and so, yeah, you can check, because the game, honestly, if you go into chat, that's where you're going to get most of your, that's how you're going to confirm most of your commands are right and set. So I've been talking for a little bit too long. Alright, so that plays the sound. So this sends redstone charge, right? And then this puts them in adventure, and then this plays the sound. So this is already setting the atmosphere, and then this is the people in the room, and then in the other room, not that room, this room, and you'll see in a second as I walk through it with you. And it detects anyone that's in the room and then closes it so that only one person at a time goes. I mean, of course, 2 people could theoretically run through at the same time, but I'm sure there's tutorials on that, on how to stop that, and I'm honestly too lazy to look that up, so I just decided to make something a little bit homemade. Okay, so we're going to get started on seeing what this whole thing is and going down there. So once this lets out a redstone signal, it's going to be letting it out to here. Now this activates because that's activated when someone's on the pressure plate, and it leads down here, and it goes to here. Now what you also probably don't know is that it goes through here as well. Alright? So the difference is, the tricky part about this actually, is the fact that I have a random number generator. So this random number generator is pretty simple. If you want, you can just go ahead and look at the, I'm actually going to put a different block here. I'm just going to, yeah, sure, birchwood sounds good. So you guys can see it more clearly instead of having to look at grass. Okay, so in theory, this is called a redstone clock. Or not in theory. It is called a redstone clock. And what it does is just sends a looping redstone signal over and over and over again. Right? And you can do it either way. It just depends on the direction of this. The redstone repeater. Forgot the name for it for a second. And so what I've done here is that this I'm going to call as a connector. Now if you don't know what that is, it is a connector, and you see this redstone right here, it's cut off. And so at a single moment in time, whenever someone steps this pressure plate, this redstone acts through this entire thing. And it wants, what the redstone wants to do is it wants to hit one of these command blocks, which gives the person standing on the block the role of whatever is it. Now you saw me get Sheriff in the beginning of the stream, if you didn't know. And the reason why I got Sheriff is because when it flashed, wherever the redstone clock was, and you can't really tell because, you know, all you can hear is pistons moving from there. And sometimes you can't hear, which is great as well. The redstone tried to go through all of these little connectors. Now, at a single moment in time, if you notice, only one is up at a time. See? One, right? So one connector at a time. What you don't want is two connectors at a time, or three, or four. You want one. And so the reason how this machine isn't so reliable, I would say, is because sometimes this redstone, you see that's going through the circuit, if you put too many repeaters, or sometimes if you are just playing in Bedrock, for whatever reason, if you go out of render distance and then come back, the machine will either have no redstone charge at all, so the redstone's just completely gone, and you have to restart it manually, which can be annoying. Or, just 1 second. Or it will just lag, so the redstone lags through these repeaters and somehow makes like 2 redstone charges out of 1. Now, unfortunately, for us redstone redstoners, I guess you'd call us, you know, that's kind of disappointing because we've been relying on this since, you know, I mean, a long time. So for like 2012, I think, when this first came out. I'm not sure. I'm not big on history of Minecraft, but I just know that we've been relying on it, and mainly I have been relying on it for such a long time, and it's just basically like caveman redstone. So if you don't know this, how to start it is, and this is pretty basic stuff for Minecraft, everyone should know this, is here's a simple one. You can make pretty fun firework launchers. So it looks like that. And you always want to have it going one direction, because if you don't, right, then, you know, you see the redstone, the little arrow, pixelated arrow. I don't know if you can see it, but You can tell because the front one, you can tell where its direction is because of the arrow, the pixelated arrow, or the front little like stick. I'm gonna call that. And so wherever the front stick is where it's facing. So if I go here, redstone goes to here, but it can't go because the repeater is a one-way thing. So if I go ahead and place this, destroy it real fast, it's gonna fail because this cannot go through here. However, I have them going the same, orientation. So well, in this case counterclockwise. Then it's just gonna go, and it's a never looping pattern. So what I have to do is I can't leave this redstone on for long because if I do, then everything's gonna be charged, and it's gonna look like this. If I destroy it, it's just gonna, because it's a never looping pattern, everything is already ignited. Now how to fix this, if you've done this, is you can break it real quick. Right, so if I do this, everything's all ignited. If I break and then place it really fast, and fix it. Now if I do this, you see how the redstone kind of lags? In theory, it should go slower here, right, and fix itself. Now probably on Java it does that, but here Bedrock, we call it Bug Rock because it's very buggy. So you can go ahead and destroy this. What I tend to do is I just do this to start it. But okay, yeah. You can see how buggy it is. It sucks. There you go. See, now it's just one. Now, unfortunately, sometimes it lags, and you'll see over there when I get to the actual murder mystery house how bad it can lag because I have a lot of repeaters that need to be powered at the same time. Now, luckily for me, I feel like maybe, just maybe, I don't know yet because as you saw, I just placed these. This might actually fix it, these blocks here. But unfortunately, these blocks won't save you in the long run because you're going to have repeaters through them. You can't have two blocks and have them be both powered with one redstone charge leading to just one. So, yes, that is the basics of it. So, how I got Sheriff, eventually one of these connectors was extended forward, and for the instant in time, the redstone traveled through the connector and traveled through this block, and this block is on every single one. You see it there, you see it there, you don't see it there, and I'll get to that in a minute, but you see it here, and once this is activated, and it's in one, so I'm going to come over here. In this case I got Sheriff, but I named it Sheriff when it pops up on your screen so people don't think I'm stupid. Once I got it, it goes ahead and gives me the tag of victim first, because victim is the tag I need in order to be a player of this game. And there's going to be two needed tags, and then there's going to be one tag that is, or what's it called? I'm sorry. There's going to be one tag that is needed for playing the game, and there's going to be one tag that is needed for getting the role. In this case, getting the role of, for me, Sheriff. And then once I have Sheriff, so it senses the nearest player with the tag of victim, and how I got victim is by going through that hub, and I teleported, and basically as I teleported I got the role because I had a thing saying tag add the nearest player with or actually, my bad, tag the nearest player that presses this button. Well, not presses the button, but at the nearest player from the block, give them a tag of victim. And so once I got victim, as soon as I step on the pressure plate, all of these, and it happens here. It does not happen over there. It doesn't happen, when you step on the pressure plate, like right there. Those command blocks I was showing you. It happens individually, which now that I think it should probably happen over there because you wouldn't have to write it 4 different times, depending on how many players are going, of course. Now 4 is probably going to be, kind of harder on you because you're gonna have to add an entire another role and, you know, gameplay and whatnot. But mine is a variable, so it can be 3 or 4 players. It's just that if it's 3 players and someone decides to join and make it 4 players, then that's gonna suck because it would kind of break the redstone, but not really. It'd break the game mainly. But anyway, once I get the tag of Sheriff from that block, then it okay, hold on. /tag. So I'm talking about a tag here at the nearest player with the tag of victim from the pressure plate. So those are the pressure plate coordinates. You know, x equals y equals z equals. Add Sheriff. So I've gotten Sheriff at this point, and I still have victim. Next, title. So so this is telling me the nearest player with the tag of Sheriff. So it's looking for anyone that has Sheriff, which I now have Sheriff, from the coordinates of the pressure plate, and it says the location of where it's going to say something is the title of the screen, and it's going to say Sheriff. So that's telling me I have Sheriff as the title. Next, it's gonna detect the nearest person with the tag of Sheriff and with the tag of victim. So I had both of those at one point. Now I don't because of this command. That's standing, you know, on the pressure plate. Remove victim. So now I no longer have victim. I have Sheriff, and it said Sheriff on my screen. Next is it's gonna be telling me. So it's telling the Sheriff, no longer with the tag of victim, so just the Sheriff, or in this case the Sheriff. I wrote that because, you know, less letters. From the pressure plate, so the nearest person from the pressure plate with the tag of Sheriff, and it's gonna say at the subtitle, so that's right below our Sheriff title. It's gonna say defend the innocents, kill the murderer. So whatever you type after subtitle is just gonna be appearing below the title. Now what you need to have is you need to have a title before you can have a subtitle, because if you have a subtitle and you're like, okay, well that looks cool, it's not gonna work because you need a title in order to type in the subtitle. So if you see your command's not working for subtitle, that's probably why, is because you don't have a title. So whatever comes after subtitle or the area of placement for title, if you're doing a /title command, is going to be your text that you want. Just 1 second. Alright, and so yeah, so now we've gotten the title, the subtitle. We no longer have victim, which was used to give us Sheriff, because, you know, someone that is made so that someone can't go into the room and get multiple tags over and over and over again. It's a one-time thing. And I'll explain also how that's a one-time thing. We have kind of like a backup just in case, you know, multiple people don't get Sheriff, and how everyone gets one tag. I'll go into that in just a second. And the last command is sus. So why did I make sus? So the reason why I made sus was because, and it can be any name in theory. You could do, you know, R, you can do X, you can do whatever, but I don't know, just sus was easy for me to do. So now it's detecting anyone with a tag of Sheriff, the nearest person to the pressure plate. It's adding sus. So now I have sus. So if I check my tags, I should have Sheriff and I should have sus. So if I do /tag at myself, because I want to know myself, and I want to list what tags I have, it's going to say, well, I have admins because that's a different thing, but I have Sheriff and sus as well. That's good, because we know our command is working. So the reason why I added sus is because, and as you, and again, I have to say this again, as you'll see in the actual lobby, you'll see how sus prevents players that are like extra or like glitching into the map from joining the game and trolling everyone. Now, it's not like 100% guarantee, but it's a pretty good, you know, pretty good stop to that anyway, I'd say. If you've hidden your murder mystery map far away, which I recommend doing on a creative world because, you know, you don't want people to find and troll the heck out of it. But anyways, that's sus. And we'll get to sus later, but you just know for now that it's important and it requires you to man, I'm getting lost in my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. It requires you to be a player of the game before you can play the game. There we go. Alright, and so the reason why this is down, so now I'll get to this. We're almost done for this part 1. Is because of this, which is good. So now, in theory, if another player joins, right, let's say I didn't have a tag, then, and they step on their pressure plate, they can't get Sheriff. Because the connector, the second connector anyway, I'd say, is down. So even if this happens to go through, it might not say anything, and if it doesn't say anything, you just press on the pressure plate again, and then once they press on the pressure plate, there's a 3 out of 4 chance they're gonna get a roll, right? So once they do get a roll, whatever roll they get, this is gonna come down, and I'll explain how this comes down automatically, whatever roll they get. And here it is. So it's testing for the tag of Sheriff. So if I now have Sheriff. So this is on because it's, you know, it says down here, found CSWS Gaming. That was me. Turns on. Goes to here. The redstone turns off, which was pushing this up, enabling the connector. Now, if it's off, then it's not pushing up anymore, which is good. This is what we want, because we're disabling the connector. Now, what I've done is I've done that for all of these. And same with this command. I've just done it with Sheriff. I've done it with Innocent 2. I've done it with Murder, and I've done it with Innocent 1. Now the reason why I have this Innocent 1 and Innocent 2 is because Innocent 2 is a part of the 4-player game, and if I were to name them both Innocent, then that is technically the same tag, therefore both of these would drop down, which is not good. Now on the gameplay, it's going to say that you've gotten Innocent. No matter, you know, if you're Innocent 1 or Innocent 2, it's going to say you got Innocent. So in the gameplay aspect, you are Innocent, yes, but in the coding aspect, you're either Innocent 1 or Innocent 2. And the reason why, you know, 1 and 2 again is because of targeting and targeting different roles. And so that's how this machine is built and how it works. And the reason why this is on right now is because I have the button on 3 players. So the reason why I have just a simple switch, and I'll show you here. You see it on 3 players, right? So it's down, which means it's on, and those signs help me to remember if I have it on 3 players or 4 players. This runs down, and it's just a simple switch. And this redstone can go through glass if you guys didn't know, through corners and stuff. And then it runs down through here, goes into there. It stays away from any of this redstone because you don't want that being activated. And because it's on 3 players, the lever's on, which means this is, again, another NOT gate, like I was just talking about. This turns it off, and then the piston moves back, disconnecting the redstone from here. Now, if this was the case, that it was connected, that means 4 players is on, and that opens up like this connector right here. And it connects, and then once this is detecting if this has a redstone charge, which if it, you know, if the connection went through, it now does. And so this turns on, this goes through here, and if this is forward, then it goes through here, and then you're able to be Innocent 2. However, and I know it's complicated because there's 3 connectors, there's 1, 2, 3, but it helps to kind of color coordinate what's going on. So that's why I did that in birch. That's why I did this in stone. That's why I did this in black. This is why I did, you know, this in oak planks, because it's basically telling me I can go into the settings of, here, and then stone is settings of these. And blue is, I mean, blue is the only blue one, and it's telling me if it's a 4-player game or not. So right now it's not, which means they can't possibly get Innocent 2, unless someone were to, you know, forcibly extend this or give this a redstone charge. Then yes, they would be given redstone 2 or Innocent 2. My bad. Alright, and so we're all done with that and the explanation of that. These are just little updates I posted for myself. It's always useful to have the coordinates of whatever pressure plate you want to press written on a sign somewhere, so you can just go back and forth and list these. Personally, I had a couple of friends help me out with the commands for each one of these little pillars, I guess you could say, of commands. And they're underground, of course, like I saw, or like I showed you. And essentially what I did for Sheriff is what I did for all of them. So there's not too complicated. It's all easy sugar here. And so these tell me the roles, and then this was basically me brainstorming. This is me brainstorming again. And items added, I'll get to that in the second part. So now we've gone over what everything here does and its properties and how to do it. And if you want Sheriff or if you want Murderer, just replace Sheriff with Murderer, and there you go. And you need to build this redstone clock with the different connections. And if you don't want to, and if you have an easier way of doing a random number generator, then be my guest. And also feel free to let me know, because, you know, this is not reliable. Most of the time you need to be there for whenever someone wants to play Murder Mystery. And if it is reliable, then you have it near spawn, let's say, and it you don't leave the render distance, then I mean, hey, there you go. Or if you have a world dedicated just to Murder Mystery, then you can just, you know, do @random. But my world is not dedicated to Murder Mystery, so I would not want players that are, you know, doing whatever to be sucked into Murder Mystery. That would not be good. And so, as you see here, I'm just going to remove my my role real quick. So @self, tag @self. So I'm viewing my tags. Remove. I'm going to remove Sheriff first. And I'm going to remove sus. And if you guys don't know how to do what I just did right there, is you just press right on the D-pad and to type in to begin typing in or editing your last message. Then you just press up on the D-pad, and you get to see your last messages. So you can just keep up or down. You can scroll. Fortunately, it doesn't show you, but you just kind of have to remember what you've typed in before. So I have, if I want to check, and again, I've typed in @selflist before. If I want to check if I've actually removed them, or if you want to check if your friends have remove them, you can do @self, so that's yourself, or you can list their actual username. Of course, it takes a little bit, but again, you can use that trick that I just showed you to go ahead and do that faster without having to type the names over and over again. It's just a one-time thing. Or just autocorrect will get it. So yeah. Now I'm just going to check. I'm just going to show you guys that I have no more tags that are meaningful for this anyway. And so you see this connection goes back up. See how this was, you know, gone before? Now it's back up, which means a person can get Sheriff again. Okay, so now we've gotten the one room and its importance down, and you can go ahead and watch the almost hour I've been explaining that for. Sorry about that. The reason why I have that open is because I can make edits. You don't have to have that open, but it's a developer type of feature I decided to implement. And again, this is the 3-player, 4-player thing. So all this should be explained and easy so far. If you have any questions, just hit me down in the comments. Or just hit me up on Discord. I'll probably post my Discord username and such in the description below. And if it's not, then I'll go back and edit it. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through the door. As you see, it doesn't turn on for whatever reason, but that's probably because I don't have a role. So we're going to go to the murder lobby. And so this is the lobby, and you just saw a bunch of commands. Okay, so this is probably going to be the most... This is very advanced redstone, so it goes from, like, baby mode to, like, okay. This is just a teleport back to the battle hub. Or battle hub was the place how you access Murder Mystery anyway. So that's not important. If you want to have teleports back to different places, I highly recommend it because it can get so annoying. Have to fly in, fly back, fly forward. Just do TP commands. Just do /TP at nearest person with a radius of 2 to wherever your coordinates are for you know, for wherever you want to go. It helps a lot, trust me. Alright, so originally I had beds up here as a respawn feature, but I just, you know, I'll get to why I deleted that in a minute. But for now, I just decided, you know, a little library. Why not? A little lamp. And so enter when ready to play. I just basically took this house. You can do any type of house. It doesn't have to be, you know, large. It doesn't have to be super huge. This is just a little lobby house for people to mess around with. And I honestly just stole this from a tutorial. Props to the creator. I can't remember what their name was, but it was a pretty good house. And I had some touches of my own, like little blood spots looking like. Right, and then I had like a little bloodstained curtain I thought was cool. And then, yeah, that's about it. And then if you try to go out, then gets teleported back up here. So that's how you know they won't escape. Also, if you don't know, you can use barrier blocks to keep them inside of this. This was just a little gate I decided to make. It looks like a little backyard gate I decided to add. And these barrier blocks, if you guys don't know how to get them in Bedrock, and it is so useful, you can go ahead and go into the commands, and this is the only way you can get them. So /give, so I'm going to give myself something, at self, because I'm targeting myself. You see the item name below, and you see all the items on the left-hand side. I'm going to put command. You already see it, you know, highlighting command block _ block. And you can put the amount. It honestly doesn't matter. I just do command block and then hit enter. And then it gives you 1. So if you just do whatever, it's just going to give you 1. Alright, so now I have command block. And I was saying barrier blocks, huh? My bad. So I can go up and that's just command block. You can do barrier, just barrier. You don't need to type in barrier block. So give at self barrier, and then it'll pop up. Looks like a little, like, you know, error thingy from Gmod. And you see there's so many. Unfortunately, there's holes that I need to patch that some of the players decided to fly through, which is not cool, but I guess they kind of tried to fix it. I don't know. They kind of failed at it, though. But yeah, and it's also really useful to have pick block on. If you guys don't know how to do that, you can do that by going to options, going to settings, going to wireless controller, scrolling all the way down, and then setting your pick block to whatever button map you want. And for me, it's down on the D-pad. It's just easier that way. I'm playing with PS3 controls, but I have PS4 control. I don't know. I've just been playing on PS3 for far longer. Alright, and so, I mean, yeah, this is the barrier block, and it helps prevent people that are in survival from, or even in adventure, from accessing different parts of a map that you maybe don't want them to go through. And so they can't break these blocks, nor can they see them, but they can run into them and such. It'll stop, I believe it'll stop Elytra flight, so do what you want. The reason how I got this so big is I use a /fill command, and if you don't know how to use that, I suggest watching a YouTube video on that, because I wouldn't want to do something bad. But I just filled, you know, 1 block depth of for barrier blocks, so anyone that's in survival can't get inside this entire map. I close it off with a giant circle. And the reason why this isn't lagging so bad, or shouldn't be, is because my render distance is relatively low, and I didn't have like multiple thicknesses. And even though all of these are animated to around my position, my internet's pretty stable, so I mean, yeah, there's that. But anyway, so yeah, those are barrier blocks, and they're basic just blocks. And you see right here that I can't go anywhere, nor can I do that little trick to try to get out, because I thought of that and I had people try to test it. So it's always good to have friends that can test it, or test your inventions for ways that you might have not known that were possible. And trust me, you probably want to do this because, I mean, you can find so many ways of how your inventions can go wrong with friends like that, and they're there for you, hopefully. Okay, so now we're starting to get into this, which is good. And right here are the directions for the game. I can honestly delete this if I wanted to, because I have all the directions written inside of the collaborated mess that is my redstone dungeon. And so anyway, we got to spawn. This is basically just, you click the button, you go in there, and you get your items if you're a sheriff. You get your items if you're a murderer. You don't get any items if you're a innocent. And you get a message saying what you need to do. And if the sheriff is taken out, there's supposed to be a timer that the innocents have to survive, or the murderer loses if one of the innocents survive. But if both innocents survive, or if one of the innocents survive, then the innocents win. Or if none of them survive, then the murderer wins. And so I'm probably gonna have a little pay system going on, but that's optional. You don't have to do that, of course, and you also don't have to do a timer or anything, because that's also kind of advanced on the advanced side. And so I'm going to get into this. So I could be a sheriff, I could be a murderer, I can be whatever role, and it will not change the output of this button, because it is always going to be positive. So once this is positive, it's going to run through here. And so the first thing it's going to hit is going to hit this command block. So the command block sets the time to nighttime, and that's the time for nighttime. So /time set 14,000. And you can name, set night. So when you look at it, you don't have to go inside of it to see what it's doing every time. That's so helpful. I'm glad they added that. So the second thing it's going to hit is this giant redstone clock that I've made. Now this is much like the first redstone clock I made, except I just expanded the sides to have like little redstone in between to lead off to other connectors. So now this powers 6 connectors instead of just 4. I'm actually just going to put a block here. And you see how, it's a little bit of latency between each block. That's what I don't want. There you go. Actually, I was trying to... Yeah, so you only want 1 charge going through there, because if you have 2 and they're on teleport, that's not going to be good. Why? Because it's teleporting you to the map over there, which if you haven't seen, I'm pretty sure you have, is that house. And that's technically out of the render distance. However, if you try going back over here and you've made a mistake on, if you forgot to check if this is 1 or 2, then that's kind of bad, because you'll get locked in a TP lock. And the reason how I have this all set up, just in case that happens, is I have it set up very safely so that I can always get out of the teleport lock. And the teleport lock is just, you're teleported over and over and over to like a spot, and you can't escape it without having to cancel all command blocks in the game, which if you have command blocks running, that's not going to be good for you. So how I have this set up is because it teleports anyone with the tag of sus. Now that's what sus does. Sus prevents a teleport lock and anyone trying to troll from disrupting the game. Or disrupting you leaving, in our case. So, if I remove sus manually from myself, then none of these teleports will work. The reason how I know that is because I don't have sus right now, so if I press this button, I should not teleport. It set the time to night, because it doesn't matter if I have the tag or not for night, as you know, as seen. However, it didn't teleport me, which is good. So if you ever need to get out of the pickle, I highly recommend making a, making a bracket with inside saying anyone with the tag of sus or some role that makes you say, hey, whoever's playing the game is only teleported, not people that are not teleported, or not people that are not playing the game. So that helps tremendously, and helps user interface as well. You want to have a good user interface. Right now I don't have much so because this is a very rough sketch of what I'm trying to do. Well, I mean, it's almost completed, but it's okay. Okay user interface. So it's anyone, so it's saying that it'll teleport anyone from that block that is in front of the button, which I just pressed a moment ago. I'll show you again. Right here, I marked it with this. It's detecting anyone that is there that has a tag of sus, the nearest person from that block. And it's teleporting them to a given coordinate. So, the reason why I have a redstone clock here is not for rolls. It is for a random spawn. And so the odds of spawning with the murderer are incredibly low, but, I mean, it could happen. But the random spawn is random, so that way you don't have, teleport, and if someone's the sheriff, then they teleport here. If someone's the murderer, then they teleport here. Then that tells other players, hey, well, I know where the sheriff, or I know who the murderer is because they teleported here. That would be unfair. So what I have is I have a random number generator just constantly going, and it's connecting different things. And again, once they press the button, it's going to go ahead and activate the redstone, and whatever one's connected is the one they teleport to. And you could see how this could cause problems with a TP lock, because if this has more than 2 charges and you try coming back, it's just going to constantly go and go, and it's going to be connected, and it's going to suck because you're going to be teleported back to different spots each time, and you're not going to be able to come back. So that's why I recommend adding some tag kind of like sus, like I did. So the reason why I have so many repeaters here is because the redstone that comes out of the button needs to happen at the exact instance of time. Just like I was talking about back there. It needs to happen at the same time or else it will not work. Because if it doesn't, then the connection could go to 1, and then it can go to 2, and now you have 2 connections, which is bad. You want to have 1 at a time. So I have 4 here that are regular. And so if I count, it's basic mathematics. So, redstone goes to here. I got 1. I got 1 so far. So this connection gets 1 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 before it gets to the block. So that's 4, right? I head through here, so 1, and I want to go not to these ones, but I want to go to the left. And it's the same on either side. They're both symmetrical. I made it symmetrical. So 1, come through here. 2, 3, 4, 5, leading to this connection. So this has the same as this connection, which is good, because it means that it's happening at the same time. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Block, boom. So now, if I want to go even further back, I'm going to have to make it the same time again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the final one, 5, leading to this block. And it's the same thing on that side. So everything on this side that I just showed is the same thing. Now, because there's 5 repeaters add a little bit of latency for the redstone, which means these will all, the connections right here will all go at the same time. You need to have them at the same time. If they're not, it will completely mess up your mojo, man. It's not going to be good. So anyway, that corroborated that mess is next on my explanation. So yeah, this is just the teleport. And it's always good to have, you know, again, another sign, which I did not write down because I didn't need it. I did this personally, and there's only one per each, so it wasn't as bad. It's always good to have a little sign stating where the button is. And this, it's also good to name your spawns if you want a random spawn. Always good to name them so you know which one has been activated or which one has not, or which one you need to fix. So, yeah. And you can name them whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Alright, so this mess down here is going to be the most complicated This is probably going to be the most complicated machine I've ever built in my entirety of Minecraft. So, yeah, let's get started. So, this was a mine bend, and I think it still is, but this gives me the coords for the middle of the map, which I'll show you now is -2864141. You'll see those numbers soon in my top left. If I just go up here. It's always good to have a middle of the map, so if you set a radius, then it's going to be covering the entire map. Right? And so I have this set to the middle of the map, and I set it like a fair 60 block radius. And so I just put a pressure plate there to mark it, and obviously no one's going to see it, so I'm just going to leave it there. You can remove it or whatever once you're done. It doesn't matter. I also put this to, you know, get up and down faster. But anyways, this is the most complicated thing. So I'll start off very, very slowly. So you see DETM. So what does that mean? So this means that it's detecting, so DET, detecting a M. So what is an M? It is a murder in my terms anyway. So that is the tag of murder. So if I have the tag of murder, this is detecting it within the radius of 60 from the middle of the map. So if there's so basically what it's saying is that if there's a murder in the house, then this is going to turn on. And it's going to lead to here. And this is going to turn off, right? These are on. This is going to turn off. And this is the teleport to the lost room, which I'll get to in a second. And this is the teleport to the death room, which I'll get to in a second. My bad. This is the respawn in the death room, which I'll get to in a second. And this is victory, victory, and victory screens for Innocent 1, Innocent 2, and Sheriff. So this turns on, or my bad. This turns off as this turns on. So if there's a murder in the house, on. Then this turns off. Now, if the murder is killed, so if you think about it in everyday life, if there's a murder, right, then this turns on, or whatever. This would be turning on. Now, if the murder's killed, there's no more murder, right? Theoretically. So now, this turns back on. So, as this is off, you know, okay, hold on. Murder's detected. On. Right? Off. Off here. No more murder. Off. Turns back on. Sends a redstone signal to TP Loss M. So, when the murderer is killed, what it does is it sets its spawn point, whoever's murderer, it sets the spawn point to the death room, which I'll go to after explaining this, and teleports them there. So when they die, teleported to death room, and this is the same thing. Lost room is the same thing as the death room, and it gives victory screens to the Sheriff, the Innocent 1, and the Innocent 2. And this is the title, and this is the teleport. So I also have victory rooms. And victory rooms and death rooms are right next to each other. So it's easy for me to access them. Okay, so the victory for Sheriff, what it looks like is the title says victory. Title says victory. Title says victory. That's for all three. And so they each have their respective rooms because, again, we don't want one person, or we don't want three people getting in the same room after they're winning. The reason why is because there's a pay system or I'm going to be implementing a pay system. So there's going to be an automatic respawn of, you know, emeralds or whatever currency I decide to place in a chest if they win. Now, if they lose, I mean, they're going to be teleported to the death room because they've died. I'll get to that in a second. So this is teleporting them to their respective win rooms. And the win rooms will always be the same. And is that a problem? No. Or at least I don't think it is because, you know, respective win rooms. It's always going to be the same. Alright, and so that's what happens if the murderer dies. So, murder's detected in the house, everything turns off, and kind of, you know, waits. Murderer's dead. Victory screens, teleport for the murderer to the death room, and set the spawn. Okay, and so moving on to this machine. This one's a little bit more complicated because this is the sheriff. Now, the sheriff, this sheriff system is a lot more complicated than you'd think it is because of how many different things are going on in here. So, again, same thing with murder. Sheriff is detected inside the house. This turns on because there has to be a sheriff for every game. And how you saw that is because, you know, sheriff isn't optional in the room. You have to have 3 players to play the game or else, you know, there's not going to be enough players. Sheriff is activated. This turns off. And everything that's connected to this turns off. That's what I'm going to say so far. When the sheriff is killed, this turns this back on, which means, again, it teleports the sheriff to the lost room, and it says that the sheriff is dead for everyone. Alright? So when it's teleporting the sheriff to the death room, now the innocents know, so and everyone with the tag of sus, the innocents and the murderer get this message saying the sheriff killed. And you can see the exceptions in there. /title, so I'm saying something at everyone. So everyone that is that has the tag of sus, so everyone that's playing the game, within a radius of 60 from the top of the house, aka the middle of the house, we're going to call it. So everyone that's in the house is going to know that the sheriff is killed because the title says sheriff killed. Alright, and so once this turns back on, it goes ahead and says that. And then it also leads to 2 connections. I'll explain this one first. So this one just basically sets the spawn point, just like the murder, to its own respective death room. And the death rooms look fairly the same. The victory rooms are only a little bit different. And so this is really simple. You can go ahead and pause the video or live stream at any certain point if you decide something looks cool. I'm going to be keeping this up for, forever, for all I know. And so, yeah. So that sets the spawn point in the death room, and this actually teleports into the death room and lets everyone know that the sheriff is dead. And so I have this summarized above. So, you know, see TP to loss, so aka loss room, I had it originally titled, but S dead title, which means, you know, everyone's saying, or everyone hears that the sheriff is dead. And then the death room of the sheriff is, what's it called? Sets the spawn point of the sheriff to the death room, so he spawns there. Now, I should actually probably do this before. And I'm probably going to move it, so you'll probably see this connection earlier on, so that way, if he dies, then the command won't successfully execute, and the sheriff will teleport back to their last spawn point rather than this. The reason is because when you're dead, you no longer have sheriff, and that's I'll get to that in a second. Or you will, but I mean, when you're dead, you're not existent, and Minecraft kind of glitches when it comes to that. Alright, so this last connection, well, I mean, this second to last connection leads to these 3 command blocks. And so basically, I'm just going to be describing these 2 because these 2 are the same. They all lead to the same 3. So Innocent 1 subtitle should say So this is already giving a title, so now we can do subtitle. Remember, you can't do subtitle unless you have title. So now we have a title, we can do subtitle. So innocent 1. So each person gets a different subtitle but gets the same title. So it's going to say sheriff killed, and it's going to say try to survive and kill the murder. Same with innocent 2. Try to survive and kill the murder. Now what the murderer gets, he gets a little bit of a different message. Frankly, one that I like as well. It's going to say kill the rest of them. Pretty simple. Pretty, pretty straightforward and direct. But, I mean, yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. So, anyway, once they get the title, they get the subtitle, and it tells you, basically, directions what to do if the sheriff's dead. And that's why I'm going to, delete the directions that are in the garage, because you don't need them anymore if everything's automated. And so the last, and so here's, and I promise this is the last connection to the sheriff one. When this is turned back on, so aka when the sheriff dies, it goes down there and activates a timer. So the reason why this is all on is because there is no sheriff detected, which means the NOT gate is activated already, my bad, by the redstone torch right here. That's why everything's on. That's why you see everything's on. This is basically replicating if the sheriff is non-existent. We're going to call it non-existent rather than dead because dead applies if there was a sheriff in the past, which there is not right now. So we're going to say non-existent. Okay, so if he is non-existent, then this is going to be on, of course, just like everything else. And so when he is existent, this is going to turn back off, and then everything's going to run through, and no redstone charge should be running through here. Now, if there is, then that means that there is no more sheriff. So when the sheriff dies, all this should be off, right? And this turns back on, comes through here, and they give, and I recorded this with my friends. I believe it was about 21 seconds of survival time, which seems fair enough. So it takes 21 seconds to reach from like there up to, I hope I didn't break a block. Okay, no, good, I didn't. It takes about 21 seconds, I think just about 22 seconds, for it to reach here. And so this is the whole system for what I was talking about. If the innocent survive, then the murderer wins. Or, no, if the innocent survive, the innocent win. If the murderer kills the innocents, then the murderer wins. That's the last bit I'm working on right now, actually. I think I already have it down, but if I don't, feel free to call me out on it. I'll fix my machine. I'm in the process of looking for other redstone experts. But so this gives, after the timer goes off, this is going to give the victory to I1 if there is an I1, right? So title at everyone with the tag of innocent 1, title victory. So it says victory as the title, and it teleports them to the win room, and then it teleports the murderer to the loss room. And how, and you might be saying right now, well, if there isn't an innocent 1, wouldn't this just activate anyway because of the redstone charge? That, once the sheriff's dead, or same thing with innocent 2, if there was an innocent 1 but not an innocent 2, then wouldn't it still activate if the murderer won? Which I would be saying yes if it wasn't for the fact that conditional exists within command blocks. So, as I was saying, conditional, much more useful in chain. So these are chain command blocks, that's why they're green. What chain do is that if this is attached to another thing, then it activates. Simple as that. And so I have it set to conditional, so if this doesn't activate, which means it's testing for innocent 1, if innocent 1 isn't there, this is going to fail, which means this fails, which means this fails. So none of these are activated if this doesn't activate. However, if this does activate, then it has to activate because it is conditional. If it was unconditional, this would fail, this would activate, and this would activate. Which would be bad because, if this failed, that means there's no I1, or innocent 1, which means innocent 1 doesn't exist now, and murderer technically would have won, however, it gets still still teleported to the Lost Room. So we don't want that. We want him to win. Unfortunate for me to say we want the murderer to win. But anyway. Teleports the innocent to the win room. And whatever coordinates you want. Doesn't matter. Just keep your tags consistent. If you mess them up, it's going to mess up your entire process, man. And so, teleports the murder to the Lost Room. So if this activates, this activates, this activates. Good. This doesn't activate, doesn't. Which is good. And this is the same thing replicated here for its own win room and the same murder Lost Room. Same commands. I can show you it again. So there's that. You can pause this at any time. And by the way, that little dash at the end, here's the full command. It's just basically Minecraft telling you that there's more to be written. I don't like how they do that because it just confuses people if they've written 2 negatives on accident. So there's the full command for you. Alrighty, and so the last bit of contraption that I have, well, the 2 last bits, this is the second to last. This is a little bit more complicated because you can see connectors here. And there's a reason why I have to have a block here. I'll get to that in a second. And this, I'm still not sure about. That, I'm still not sure about. But everything here has worked so far. From what I know, if it does not work for you guys, you let me know what you've typed in the command and all that stuff, and maybe share a video clip with me so I can either help you or you can help me on my mistake. So this is detecting if there's an innocent one in the game. So if there is an innocent one in the game, of course this turns on, this makes this turn off. Same thing with that one and that one. Same thing. So then, if there is no more innocent one, so if innocent one does not exist, kind of like, you know, it is right now, this will turn on again, sending a charge to TP Lost 1. And it runs through here. It doesn't touch this. Notice how it doesn't intermingle, because if it did, then that would cause problems, and that would, you know, get mixed up with innocent 2. I just didn't. I don't know. I could have moved it left 1, but I decided not to. All right, so this lights up here, which activates a gate. So right now, innocent 1 doesn't exist, which means if we played a game and I was innocent 1 and I died, then this would be on, like it is right now, and this connector would be going here. Now, the reason why I have a connector here is because this system kind of represents idealizes the murder winning. And this is the murder winning. So basically, murder winning is inevitable right now because of this redstone torch. And the reason why it's inevitable is because you know, the connection runs all the way through, and that's Victory M, and this is teleporting to win room. So TP win. I'm gonna call that TP win M. Alrighty, and so I mean, yeah, this just basically gives victory to murder and teleports them to the win room so they can get their collectibles, and everyone else should be in the death room because of what I've explained back there. Okay, and then this one sets innocent ones spawn to the death room, by the way. Same thing with everyone else. I'm probably going to move this back to the lobby area, but we'll see about that. Alright, and so once this connector is activated, then, and only then, will the redstone charge go through, and it'll activate through this. So if there's no more innocent, then this is activated, is allowed to go through. If there's no more sheriff, which means sheriff has been killed, so now innocent 1 and sheriff has been killed, which means victory for him, which is good for the murderer anyway. The only problem I'm having with this right now, I'm probably doing something so dumb, but this is innocent 2, and I've done the same system, and essentially this runs back to this gate, enabling this connector for 4 players, right? And so again, if innocent 2 is alive, then this pulls back, and this, murder hasn't won yet, right? And so, and if everyone's dead, then all these pull forward, besides the murder, if the murder's still alive, then murder wins. Now you might be asking yourself, well, if if there's no more innocent within the house because they've been teleported to the lost room, wouldn't that mean that the murderer would get teleported back to somewhere else because of an error? Well, I have a solution for that. And before I get to that solution, I just want to say here is that because there is no Innocent 2, this is why it will be forever extended. I just realized. I'm pretty sure this has already fixed itself. I don't know, I've theorized about this entire idea for too long, and I need to get some sleep. So, anyways, yeah, there's no Innocent 2, so even if it's a 3-player game, then of course there wouldn't be Innocent 2, and if there is, then, it'd pull back. So, either way, if Innocent 2 is dead in a 4-player game, or if he's non-existent in a 3-player game, given that it's 3 players, then this is going to be pushed forward, and there's going to be no problem. And so, yeah. And just because the redstone's on, I just don't want to freak you guys out. Just because the redstone's on does not mean that this is constantly activating. Because if it was, then that would suck, and Minecraft would need to, fix their redstone. But yeah, no, it is not constantly, just because this is on, does not constantly activate a command. It just activates it once. Right? So it's kind of like a button, if you will. This is a very long button. Alright, and so I'll get back to that point that I made when it teleport, the murder somewhere else because the game glitching out and that there's no more innocents in the house, or if they started a new game. So these are the win rooms and the death rooms. I'll show you here. This is a death room, and I can't say, which is for which because I honestly can't remember. But I know that if I were to go anywhere near the red death rooms, there's a command that is teleport back to the battle hub where they originally got in here. There's a command somewhere under, I'm pretty sure, each room that basically gets rid of every single tag that has to do with this game. So it gets rid of sus, it gets rid of, or it gets rid of sus, it gets rid of murder, it gets rid of, everything. Even for the victory rooms, it gets rid of everything. And there's teleports back to the battle hub to where they can start a new game. So that's how it fixes that. So as soon as they spawn here, it's uncontrolled. It's controlled, if it's a test for command. So testing for a player in here, if that's possible, then the comparator detects that the test for command block is active. So then it sends a redstone charge, and it should send a redstone charge to a impulse command, because impulse is only one-time thing. It sends an impulse command to activate for taking away their tag of whatever they are. So that's how I fixed that. And I don't know why there's honey walls. The people that were helping me build this were not very big brain. Just kind of fooled around, if you will. But I mean, hey, at least they helped. Helped build the rooms for me. So that is essentially it. I can go ahead and run a test for you, and go into depth about how each mechanic works that is in that whole room of mine. But for now, I need to test it one more time, or maybe a couple more times, to make sure that everything is running smoothly. And for your map, you can do anything. It doesn't matter what size your map is, or how big or how small your map is. You just want to have enough space for people to be able to run around and have different rotations even around the map for Murder Mystery, because if you don't have rotations, it's going to be very cramped and people are going to get cornered, and that makes the murder overpowered. So in mine, I based mine off of the Joy of Creation, and it was, I believe, built by the Redstone, or the Redstone Reindeer guy. I'm sorry. Redstone X something, I'm not sure. Redstone Master, I don't know. But he has a reindeer skin. He's a very nice guy. I've learned some of, I've actually learned one of my medieval builds from him, and I continue to build medieval stuff today, so that's fun. And I've also learned a lot of my redstone experience from him, but mainly command blocks was just self-taught, so it's pretty hard. So anyway, this is the Joy of Creation map, and basically you can build any map you want, and yes, you can even do Among Us, but implementing tasks is an entire different world. So good luck with that, man. I personally wouldn't know how to implement tasks. I mean, you could probably do that, but making resettable tasks, so that way, you know, a new game starts, there isn't already tasks that are completed from the previous game or the first game. I wouldn't know how to do that, and yeah, nor do I really need to know how to do that, because I'm going to be making a hide and seek map, so it's going to be simpler than a murder mystery. So that's going to be fun. But anyway, you can do any sort of map, doesn't matter. Just make sure your random spawns are farther apart, pretty far apart from each other, and you have enough space. And as you saw, there was like a little secret thing right here. This was not in the tutorial, might I say, and I'm actually going to put slabs, because I don't like whole blocks like that. Alright, so yeah, anyways, this was not in the tutorial. This was just something that I did myself. Honestly, it's just a little fun gimmick. I decided to make it a bit more fun because it's rotational, so you're able to run from a murderer and actually have a chance of surviving, playing like Ring Around the Rosie basically, from the murderer, and not being stuck in a corner every time, right? So originally in his tutorial he said, you know, you could lead this down wherever you want. I decided personally to lead it down to an office, to the office he built, and you can see that in his video. I can link his video in the description when I'm done streaming. But oh, that's another room. Let's not do that. And so anyways, I can link his video in the description if you want to know how to make this map. He's a very good map builder, and I mean, yeah, so and this is by the way, this shortcut that I built is a one-way thing, so you can't go back up. Let's just say, you just can't go back up. So if you try to go back up, and this slab thing isn't working, so I'm gonna do stairs. If you try to go back up, you won't be able to reach the painting, which I have a whole painting little mechanic for, you know. You go through the painting, and then it's used on a lot of different Minecraft, you know, security builds or security bases builds. You'll see it on YouTube a lot, so it shouldn't be much of a problem for you. Also, this is blocking it. It sucks. Alright, and so I mean, yeah, and so this is one rotation, and you want to have a couple rotations if you want to make your map really enjoyable and fun. So there's one, and that's a one-way. See, because I can't jump up there again. Nor, I don't think I can. Yeah, no, I can't jump up here. That's just a little security camera detail he added. Does it actually? I guess it does something. But anyway, yeah. So this is all just the tutorial stuff. I put barrier blocks here so that way they couldn't just, you know, run out and escape. Honestly, this looks a little bit messy right here. I could, you know, finish off the roof, but I didn't really care because, you know, it's a wall. The wall is a wall, and also the security camera got in the way. And so, yeah, this is the map. I'm just going to go through here. So this, if you recognize, is the living room area. There's no... I'll let you know where the, sorry, paintings are that have tricks. This is the living room. And this map is based off the Joy of Creation, if I didn't tell you guys already. So this is the Joy of Creation map. The reason why I did this is because, I don't know, it just looks like a modern house. Looks nice. But yeah. Anyway, this is another one of the rotations. This leads up, and I'm gonna make this more fancier. Don't worry. I'm gonna lead this up to here, and leads to the kid's bedroom. And this one is two-way, so that's good. There's also a little closet here for people to hide, but I mean, it's pretty obvious. What's even more obvious is the fact that there's a closet right here, side closet. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Someone might have a big brain move and skip past someone that's hiding there. This also leads to the attic, by the way. You can open and close doors from one side, so that is a little fun element I decided to implement. This just leads down to the same staircase, so this is nowhere special. And yep, this is just the plain hallway. There's nothing behind here or anything. Again, this is the hallway to the living room. That's another hallway to the living room. And that's the hallway to the office. Now this is the basement. So the basement is the only place where you can get cornered. And I decided to add that on purpose. This is the basement. Looks pretty nice. And I'm gonna try seeing if I can add scary music into here. It's probably gonna be Disco 13, to be honest. But if not, that's fine. I don't expect the grandeur of spooky music. Anyway, that's the bathroom. It's gonna be locked right here because I mean, there's nothing you really need to see in the bathroom. This is the only place where you can get cornered, I guess. Either side doesn't matter because there is no rotation down here. Besides, you know, going up as a basement should be, I believe. But you can do whatever makes you happy, you know? You can place different, you know, hiding spots, clever hiding spots. You just want to make sure that it's fun for everyone and that they, you know, can't escape, because that would suck. Or you want to make sure that they can't break the game, right? So, yeah, and also, this door actually has barrier blocks behind it, so I'm not gonna break that. But anyway, this is my map, and you can do your map differently than mine. It doesn't have to be the same thing as mine, of course. To each their own. And so yeah, that is the majority of my murder mystery build. Not very well, somewhat confident, and I mean you'd think I'd hope so too in my build. I feel like I've done a fairly good job. If you guys have any random number generator machines, just please again let me know, because I'm currently stuck with using, you know, bad renders of redstone clocks for my builds. But anyway, that concludes the video. And if you have any things that you want to point out that you think could be simpler, or you want to discuss some things that I've done and why I've done them, or how to make them, or even if you want to see how it's actually done, I can perform it on villagers. Just let me know in the comments below. Go ahead and leave a like and sub if you want to. I'm not a very consistent video maker. I just do one every now and then. I just thought that this would be fun for people to get to know, because I know there's not very many broadly or very deeply explained what's it called, how to make, you know, command, or how to make murder mysteries with just command blocks and no mods, because it can be very tough as a bedrock, you know, redstonist to implement those sort of things in game, and especially if you want your world to not just be one thing, because mainly people do like PvPs, just one world, and everyone is participating. But for my world, there's different game modes, so not everyone is involved in the murder mystery at the same time. So yeah, to each your own. The more players you add, the more complicated it's going to get. I do not recommend adding more than 6, because as you see, there's 6 spawns, and you're gonna have to do one of these machines, like, well, if you want 6, you're gonna have to repeat this machine twice over, and you're gonna have to work with the other redstone clock machine thingy with 4 more connections and all that stuff. So if you have time on your hands, go ahead and do that. I just wouldn't recommend doing it because it takes so much work already just for 4 people. But right now I have 3 and 4 because that's just about the amount of people I have on here. Because as I said, it's not released to the public yet, so it's not big and booming, nor do I expect it to be when it is. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this tutorial, and let me know if you have anything to say or help me with the build, and have a good one. That's all I can say. Good building, I suppose, and I hope my tutorial helped in my deep analysis. Sorry it was so long, 1 hour and 36 minutes, 29 seconds continuing. But I feel like I wanted to be in-depth and elaborate about how I built it, because again, there's not many tutorials out there that showcase this type of work. So yeah, I hope you learned a thing or two maybe about redstone and how you can implement redstone with command blocks and such. And have a good one, and good night.